Hi there, everyone. I'm Ashley Bullington, and welcome into the Campfire. This week, we are breaking down District 4 6A, and let's kick it off with our film session presented by Cricket Wireless. When talking about District 4 6A, you start and end with South Lake Carroll. The Dragons are one of the state's favorites to take home a state title. Loaded with talent, South Lake Carroll's led by the nation's #1 prospect, quarterback Quinn Ewers. The senior missed a lot of last year with a sports hernia, but is completely healthy for 2021 and is backed by amazing athletes everywhere. District MVP Owen Allen is at running back, while Landon Sampson and RJ Maryland also return as district offensive players. And that's not even mentioning a stellar defense led by Avion Jones in the secondary. With the Dragons clearly the top in the district, the 3 final spots are still open. Eaton should be a major player on the playoff scene as they finished second last year and return wide receiver Charles Whitebear and Hunter Erb, a beast at tackle. Byron Nelson should also be in the mix as Jacob Wilson returns as Offensive Newcomer of the Year along with other young, talented offensive players. The Bobcats' issues may come defensively as they have a lot to replace. Also, for the Keller ISD teams, Timber Creek got a shot in the arm when top 50 running back Emeka Megwa transferred in from Nolan Catholic. Keller finished out of the playoffs as well, but returned some nice junior linebackers that should keep most games low scoring. Keller Central also brings back a good linebacking core, while Fossil Ridge will attempt to pick up a win or two in district play.
The film session is presented by Cricket Wireless. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Some really fantastic teams in this district. There are some really great players too. Let's introduce you to a few of them and our players on the rise. South Lake Carroll's Quinn Ewers is the best quarterback not only in the district but in the nation. Ranked as the top recruit in the 2022 class, Ewers possesses such arm strength that many are projecting him as a top 5 NFL draft pick already. He threw for over 4,000 yards as a sophomore, and last year, despite missing games due to a sports hernia, Ewers threw for almost 2,500 yards and 28 touchdowns. For his career, he's already thrown 73 touchdowns to only 8 picks. Ewers will be headed to Ohio State for his collegiate career. Keller Timber Creek received a nice surprise when running back Emeka Megwa transferred in from Nolan Catholic. The new tailback is considered one of the best rushers in the state. As a Viking, Megwa ran for 730 yards and 12 touchdowns, and also scored 2 more TDs in the passing game. Megwa has plenty of offers, including Washington, Alabama, and Auburn. One of the biggest, strongest offensive linemen in the district is Hunter Erb from Eaton. Erb stands 6'6" and 305 pounds and was a unanimous first-team All-District selection as a junior. He has the high motor and mean streak needed to be a dominant offensive tackle. Hunter is not one you want around the breakfast table because he'll get his pancakes, that's for sure. Erb will be headed to Texas A&M next fall. Landon Sampson of South Lake Carroll is one of the district's best receivers. Last year, Sampson caught everything thrown his way as he finished with 74 catches and almost 1,300 yards to go along with 15 touchdowns. He was the district's Offensive Player of the Year last year and helped lead the Dragons to the state title game. Sampson has offers from Nebraska, Baylor, and Colorado, amongst others. Some really fantastic players in this district, and they're led by some really great coaches. For 4-6A, we bring in for our Media Day segment head coach of Teller. Hold on one more time. 3, 2. Some really phenomenal players in District 4-6A, and they are led by some really great coaches. For our Media Day segment, we bring in Keller Timber Creek's Marshall Williams.
All right, it's Media Day, District 4-6A. We are joined by Timber Creek's head coach, Marshall Williams. Coach, talk a little bit about your squad because everybody's anxious about the new addition you got coming in the backfield. Talk a little bit about Emeka coming over, and it's kind of nice when you get a top 50 player in the state just dropping in and taking care of business in the backfield.
Yeah, Meg is a great addition to our football team and to our offense, and we're really excited about having him. I think, obviously he's a very talented kid. He's a strong kid, very good athlete. Runs the ball well outside and between the tackles. Has really good hands. But to be honest with you, the best thing about him is he's a great kid, and he's grown up in our town. I think he moved here from Chicago back when he was 12 and has lived in our district guideline and our boundaries. And he wanted to come home and play football his senior year and with all the kids he grew up with. And, he's a hard worker. He's a great kid. He wants to be coached, and he's picked up the offense really well, and we're just really happy to have him.
You're in one of those districts with a lot of people call them the state favorite in 6A because they got the nation's #1 player. Talk about being in a district with South Lake Carroll and what they bring to the table, and then if it's going to be difficult to get the #1 spot, there's still other playoff spots to get.
Sure, and that's never been more evident than last year's season. It came down to a race of second, third, and fourth, and it came down to the latest regular season game in I think Texas high school history between us and Keller. So it's a very competitive district. Carroll, having been at Carroll for 2 years, they should be the favorite, right? I mean, they return a lot of kids on both sides of the ball. They have twin years. We have all the respect in the world for Carroll, and we have all the respect in the world for everybody in our district. We're not worried or focused on what everybody else is doing. We're only focused on what we're doing.
Excellent, man. You got me hyped up for the season already, as usual. So I can't wait for August 26th, see how you guys fare at 4-6A, and I hope Timber Creek makes it one of those playoff spots. So I appreciate you joining us today, Coach.
Thank you so much, Coach Williams, for joining us here on the Campfire. You can catch the entire interview with the Keller Timber Creek head man on Thursday in our Media Day segment on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Up next, we bring in the one, the only, Professor Diggs for the District Breakdown.
All right, we are back with Professor Diggs. He is still staying out on the West Coast there with the beautiful Pacific Ocean behind him. Today we're going to talk 4A. We know who you're going to talk about, so why don't you go ahead and get started?
Are you just going to cue me to talk about South Lake while we while we show highlights for the Mighty Dragons? But South Lake, fantastic run last year. And every week, I think for about 3 straight weeks in the playoffs, I picked them to lose. And they're the team that I thought they just weren't quite ready for this run. And they kept proving me wrong, knocking off Duncanville and knocking off even Arlington Martin earlier in the playoffs. And then the state championship game was just too much for them. But this year, I think they are the big dogs. I think everybody's going to be queuing in on them. And speaking of queuing in, you talk about Big Q and Quinn Ewers. This is the best quarterback in the nation. And when you got him on your team, there's very little wrong.
Let's try to talk about some of the other teams. I know Keller Timber Creek just took in a good transfer this year from Nolan Catholic, their running back, Emeka Megwa, who is top 50 player in the state, and he's looking to show his talent for Timber Creek. Maybe that pushes him into a playoff spot.
Yeah, I already had Timber Creek in a playoff spot. They have their quarterback coming back, and when you have your quarterback coming back, Jacob Porter, I think that kind of gives you a little bit of an edge. And for me, I also really like Byron Nelson and the talent they've got coming back. Jake Wilson, quarterback coming back, was widely lauded last year in that district. They got Gavin McCurley and Landon Rance-Miguels, both wide receivers, all sophomores. So this is a really good core group that we're going to get for the next 2 years with Byron Nelson. I think they are going to be a playoff team. And I like Northwest Eaton. Charles Whitebear, the good receivers coming back. A lot of things to replace offensively and defensively.
All right, next week is 5-6A, and hopefully we'll be back in the state of Texas. We can maybe have a Lone Star Steakhouse in the background or something like that.
Hey, guaranteed I'll be back in Texas next week.
See you next week.
Wiz, thank you. Professor Diggs, thank you. Such a great insight as always. That's all we have for this week's episode. Come back every Monday to see what we're breaking down in our Campfire. Until next time, I'm Ashley Bullington, and thank you for watching.